Hey, everybody. Do you ever wish you could figure out what is or is not working in your marketing? We are here from ZanyMe to help you with your private practice marketing, to help you connect with your clients and realize you don't have to do all the things to have a full practice. And in fact, especially once you get a full practice, it can be really important to make some shifts and changes to be able to sustain your marketing. But most of us have an all or nothing mentality. And after we're full, we're so scared to let go of anything at all that we end up doing all the things until we kind of burn out and we just stop doing it all. So I'm here with our amazing marketing manager, Blayde,
Hello.
to talk about how to evaluate your marketing, how to look at what you're doing so that you can track it and know, A, is it even working? B, should you change something? Or C, could you let go of doing that altogether and still have a happy, full as you want to practice? All right, Blayde. So what is the first step for therapists that you would recommend if what is the first thing that you would say that you find that most business owners in general, especially therapists, that they just kind of skip when they start doing marketing that gets them stuck in this rut of having to do all the marketing or not knowing what's working?
Well, I feel like the first thing they should do is identify where they actually want to be. I would say that because a lot of times therapists just kind of like jump around everywhere without actually looking into where their audience is. And the truth is, like, you really don't have to be everywhere. Even in the case of us, like, we used to be on different platforms that we kind of like toned it down now. So I would say that that would be the first step, just identifying where the clients are that you're going to want to find.
Yes, that intentionality is really important. And what's really great is for a lot of therapists, they say, "Well, I don't really know where my clients are at. I just don't know. It's impossible. Is there a website I can look at, or let me read this blog, and this blog will tell me the best places to market to, today." But in reality, if you are seeing clients, I think that it's really important. Oh, you're not seeing me, Julia. That's really weird. Is anyone else seeing or not seeing us, seeing me and Blayde? Let us know in the chat. Maybe, Julia, if you refresh it. I know you're over on LinkedIn. Maybe we'll see if that helps. Maybe Blayde can go and check that out too. But first and foremost, we need to really stop and go, you know what? My ideal clients, I'm probably seeing them on a weekly basis. Have I really checked in to where they're at and where they're what life is looking like for them right now? So, for example, when you have a client who's saying, "Oh my gosh, I had this issue with my spouse, they didn't tag me on Facebook or what have you," and they're your ideal client, you know that they're on Facebook, right? When you're having these conversations and somebody said, "Well, I made this post and nobody's responding, and I feel like, hey there, nice to see you, Omar." Remember, if you want some feedback on your marketing, you can share in the comment and we will do our best to give you some feedback and suggestions. But when you're having those conversations, take note, maybe even ask them, "Well, what social media platforms are you on?" And you're going to ask this not because you're doing market research, but because it actually helps you to better engage with your client and understanding that platform can be really important in terms of an intervention as a therapist. So if this is happening on LinkedIn versus Facebook versus TikTok, there are different interventions of what the client might be able to do to manage whatever crisis or frustration is happening, right? So I think sometimes especially if we're not huge social media fans, I'm not a big social media person. It's not really where I want to be on a day in and day out basis. But for a lot of your clients, they're spending sometimes 5 to 15 hours a day on social media, y'all. Easily. And maybe you just go, "Well, no, it doesn't really count. They're just scrolling." they have 5 hours maybe of scrolling or 2 hours of scrolling. I pinky promise you should understand what their algorithm looks like, and maybe even help them to figure out, do I need to limit that exposure? What are some, maybe you give them some people to follow so they can start changing their algorithm and getting better feedback, you know? But like, first and foremost, be intentional. I think the second thing that Blayde, hey, nice to meet you too, Omar. Blayde is always really good at helping us keep track of is the tracking of our marketing. This is my least favorite thing to do in some ways. In the moment, it's so much easier just to share something or put a link up. But Blayde is someone who really supports us in using special links so that we can know what people are actually clicking on and whether what we're doing actually works. So for example, we're doing a live today, and it could be very easy just to say this is or isn't working. But if we have some tracking behind it, we can say this is really worth the time or it's not. And even today I'm testing out and saying, hey, share your website. Like, let's look at your marketing. Let's get some support to see if that helps people engage, right? So we get to test things. So what's your favorite way to track whether marketing is working from like a base level in terms of sharing links or doing things on social media, Blayde?
So I use something called Google Campaign Builder, which is essentially you can take like, it's a little bit hard to describe on the live stream, but there's different parts of tracking. So you could have the source as, for example, Facebook or Instagram, whatever platform you're using. Then you want to choose a medium, which is usually we just put post, like it's a social media post. Or if you're doing a live, you could do something like live stream for that. And then there's the campaign, which would essentially be naming whatever it is that you're actually linking to. Um, then from there, we can use something called Bitly to actually just shorten the link and have like a public facing link that looks good, because the thing with UTMs is that they're like very long strings. Um, Now, I know for some of you, you're probably like, this might be a little bit too complicated, but the reason why I'm advising you do this is because if you are on more than one social media platform and you're linking to the same place, you're going to need to make sure that your link looks a little bit different in order to actually shorten it. So yeah, I can link to that later on if you want to know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah. So I think that place of, and Blayde's describing when there's a lot of different scenarios, but it could be that you just put the source as Facebook or LinkedIn.
yeah,
And just having that difference of being able to see how many people clicked on your Facebook link versus how many clicked on your LinkedIn link, I think that can be really helpful, again, because our ultimate goal with evaluating your marketing is so you can do less. Yeah, so you can do less. Who wants to do all the marketing in the world? None of us do. We want to actually be either living our life or really deeply helping people. We don't want to be just sitting and doing the marketing all day long, right? So if we can find some ways to really track what we're doing, that can let us let go of other things. I think a lot of times people think of tracking as something that you're going to have to do sort of forever, or it's going to mean that you have to do more, but it's really doing a little more in the beginning so you can do a lot less ongoing. I think the other thing too, and this is a huge thing that private practice owners miss, huge, 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 and it's very simple. It's when someone calls you, ask them how they learned about you and write it down somewhere in like a compiled place. Was it through their doctor? Was it through another therapist from a consultation group? Did they find you on social media? Did they Google you, or did they Google and find you on Google? And if they said they Googled you, be specific about asking what they searched for. And this is not because you want to, like, so that you can just for the SEO information. Ask them what they Googled, because it will give you insight into what their presenting problem is. So if they typed in PTSD therapist in Atlanta, that lets you know that their biggest concern is PTSD, or even that they know what the term PTSD is. Like, that gives you some insight on that potential client. And then again, if they say, oh, I'm looking for an anxiety therapist, okay, that gives me some information on what their their main concern is. And then we can go in and maybe they said, yeah, I think I just typed in counselor and I just kept like scrolling and like, no, I got to like the 4th page and you were there, right? Which was awesome. So it's this weird sort of space that we struggle in sometimes of feeling like, well, I feel embarrassed to ask this question because it feels like it's a marketing question, but it's really not. It gives you really good data. Again, if it's their primary care physician referring, that lets you know that there might be something physical that's going on that they've already talked to their doctor about. That may be somebody that you need to sign a release of information in so that you can check in with the doctor. There's some really good clinical information by just asking this question. And again, you can put that into their file, but also have a spot someplace else so that you can look and go, oh my goodness, I'm getting 50% of my referrals are coming from other people and 50% are coming from Google, or 85% are coming from other people, and I'm getting almost nobody from my website. That could make you feel really frustrated, like, oh my gosh, I'm glad you're here, Julia. Enjoy your session. I'm really frustrated that my website isn't giving me any referrals, but that also means there's a huge opportunity, right? That if you can unlock that, and for most of our clients, when they unlock their website, y'all, it is like magic. Who here wants some website magic? Who wants some marketing magic? If you can unlock your website so that it's marketing for you day and night, 7 days a week, holidays, no days off, that means that you get to enjoy your time off. If you have a process on your website where, as part of that marketing, it really pre-screens people, make sure they're appropriate, they understand your fees, your schedule, how you work, they can fill out a form and then schedule their initial consultation all at 3 a.m. on a Saturday. And then you just come in and like people are ready. Like, oh my gosh, is that not magic, y'all? We need some more magic because we didn't go to school, most of us, to like become marketing mavens or whatever. Like, we came to help people. And if we can evaluate things and make shifts and changes, like, that makes a huge difference. I think about for a second, like one of our clients, Lauren Hahn, and she has a trauma practice that's like very body-based anxiety and trauma work in Orlando, Florida. And she started with us in our business school several years ago, right when she was starting out and struggling. And she's been keeping great records of where people find her and how they find her for the last 5 years, I think. And it's so funny because she can go into specifics about, oh, this is already always a little bit slower. Oh, hey, during this time, I usually get an influx. I need to get prepared because every August it looks like this. So I'm already full, so I better hire. I'm looking in June to August and saying, oh, I need to flow through. Kelsey Torgerson Dunn, another group practice owner in St. Louis, she's an anxiety specialist. And she was able to look and see what the presenting problems were and what the themes were for that marketing of like when people were reaching out. And so she came up with her marketing calendar for the year based on what people were calling for. So a month before the calls usually started for that particular issue, she was putting out marketing material talking about those issues out into social media. So then the people who are like, oh my gosh, how did she know that I'd be struggling with this issue? Because of data, y'all. How freaking cool is that? All right. So we talked about being really intentional and coming up with a plan that makes sense for your ideal client. We talked about a couple ways to track, one very techy. And then we had one that was a little bit more like, hey, let's have a conversation, but then we can also track it in a spreadsheet or even a piece of paper with some slashes. It doesn't matter. Callie Deb has a question. I have a website designed and need to add the text. I've been delaying it for a while, but I'm encouraged by what you're discussing. Oh, I love hearing that, Deb. I love it. I love it. One of the biggest things that I would say in terms of marketing a website is the sooner you can get it launched, the better. Progress, not perfection. Having a one-page website that has good basic information for you for 6 months is way better than having a 10-page website that has a bunch of information for 6 weeks. Okay? And what's really cool is if you can get that 1-page website done and it's there, then you can just focus on adding maybe 1 page every month or 1 page every quarter. And this is what we teach in our business school. When people enroll with us, they don't only learn just like how to actually write the copy, right? Because that's the biggest thing. We go, oh, this website's being designed. But then they say, well, what pictures do you want? What colors do you want? What font do you want? Send us your text. And you're like, by the end of it, you're like, wait, I don't know what to write. And I don't know what colors to pick. And I don't know what pictures to pick. And then you just end up with a stack of 6 rocks because that's what you see on everyone else's website. And then Kelly and I look at it and go, not the rocks. We can't take any more therapist rocks. It's so silly. So in business school, we actually take you page by page and we teach you exactly how to write the content for that page based on what you do. And then we give you a website template where like, hey, here's how to do the first page. And it's all like set up so then you can just paste in the information, insert your beautiful photo. We show you where you can go and get headshots for $15 that are like gorgeous. $15 headshots, y'all. Like we show you how to do that. And then you can add a page at a time. You can work on the contact page. You can work on the frequently asked questions page. We can work on the about page, or if you have multiple specialties, we can work on that. If you're a group practice owner, we can work on that. But know that if you are frustrated with like how to like write for your website, like you're not alone. We were not taught that. And web designers have not traditionally been helpful in terms of helping us do that. Kat Love is an amazing website designer who does a great job of helping her clients figure out what to write in their for their website. But I would say 99% of website designers, they're just looking at the tech of it. They're just like, give me my stuff and I'll do my thing and then we can be done, right? Okay, we talked about those things. What else? I'm so curious, right? I always love it when people ask us questions, honestly, because we can talk to you a lot about marketing. But if you can just focus on these 2 pieces of one, or maybe that is the 3 lessons, right? So 1, let's be really intentional about where we are. 2, let's track it. And then maybe 3, this is a lesson for the website, but I think it's a lesson overall. It's progress, not perfection, y'all. Can we do a little bit and see how that works? Can we make a little adjustment over time and not wait for everything to be, oh my goodness, perfect? Can we do that? Is there anything that you want to add in there, Blayde, about the marketing excitement and juiciness?
One thing I was just thinking about from the beginning is when it comes to, I'm focusing mainly on social media here with what I'm talking about, but I feel like people get caught up on the numbers of how many people are liking or commenting or things like that. But ultimately what really matters is, let's just say you're posting some kind of link where you can get signed up for your email list, like clients can get signed up, or even to a blog post you're writing, something with your website, whatever the case. That's really what you want to be measuring, as opposed to how many people are just liking or commenting, because sure, that's nice, but you want to actually be getting people towards your business. So I feel like vanity metrics, people can kind of get hung up on that a bit.
Yeah. Like, is this actually bringing people to you?
Yeah.
And I've talked with therapists that have amazing social media followings that's bringing them no business. And then I've talked with therapists that have like, I'm going to say paltry or like very small social media followings where they're like, oh no, I get like 4 clients a month from Instagram. Like, this is just my place. And so know that it's really about that space. And I think, and I would also say like, everyone's different in terms of how they engage in social media. We all have a starting point. And some of us, we have to like kind of play with something a little while to see if it works for us. But if you are 6 months or 12 months into social media and like you don't enjoy it, the odds of you getting business from it are like very low. Like, trust your own energy and gut. Like, if you're not digging it, then other people probably aren't digging it either. right? Like there's probably something out of alignment.
Speaking of that, another thing I want to add, you also want to consider what's working best for you in regard to like the medium of the social media. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, we do a lot of like text-based posts and some graphics and things like that, but some people are very big on doing like Instagram reels or videos, whatever the case. If something comes more natural to you and you feel like that's working better, that's definitely what you want to move towards. Of course,
Yeah.
you want to see whether or not people are engaging with that, but I think the more authentic that you're being and the more you're focusing on that, the better results you're usually going to get in the long run anyway, and the more consistent you're going to be able to be, which is another
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, you have to really like enjoy it. Like honestly, y'all, like I enjoy writing. Like I really do. Like I would like I love that I can like pour my heart and soul into something and then 6 years later someone be like, "Oh my gosh, I found your blog and this was so helpful." Like that just is like magic for me. I don't get that excited about an Instagram reel. Like it's just a lot for me. Like I don't know what is going to need to happen. I feel like I need like I don't know, like I need my 15-year-old kid to be like really into like filming Instagram reels and for him to just tell me what to do. And like, I don't know, but he's not, he does like watching TikTok, but he's not into, he's taking film academy this year. So fingers crossed he can become my film person and somehow that will bring me joy. But until then, right, I'm going to give myself permission to lean into the things that I really enjoy. I have like a blog that I'm really excited to write, y'all. So it's just like sitting there waiting, and I'm so excited. All right, y'all. So I hope that this was helpful today. If it was, I'd love for you to share in the comment, like what was your biggest takeaway? That helps us know. And if there's a comment or a topic you'd really like us to share about on this live, or you want to post a question and say, hey, I'd love for you guys to do a live on this topic, share it in the comments or even email us at help@zanyme.com and we can put it on the schedule. Till next time, y'all.